So in the last video, we made this simple chart. I'm just going to show you a few tips on how to make it look less ugly. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is add axes. I don't know why Excel does this by default. I guess it was made for business people that don't like axes. But if you go up here to the top ribbon, you can go to Chart Design. And what Chart Design will do, you can add new elements to your chart. So the add chart element here in the top left, you can add axes. So say an axes title for your, I just deleted my axes. So we can make sure we have our axes, have actual numbers on it. You can also use this little quick layout thing. I typically will use that to kind of get myself started. So you can choose one where you actually have now axes titles. Another thing Excel does that they seem to really like to do is to put the numbers in the middle of the chart where that end up getting crossed with data. This is a little bit harder to fix, but I'll show you how to do that. If you want to edit any of these things, we can double click on them. So this would be voltage. And then if you add something like this, you're going to want to also add units to your axes. So that's voltage in volts. This is axis is power in watts. Then we can take this and double click on any of the chart elements to be able to bring up this edit documentation here on the right side. So there are a lot of different things that you can click. Generally, the paint bucket will allow you to change some colors. The thing that looks like a bar chart will allow you to change kind of most of the things that you would want to change. So our axes options, if we want to rescale things, say we don't have data to -0.4, we have data to 0.2 and 1.2 if we want to kind of expand things a little bit. We can change our major and minor units, so we could give ourselves, say, a little bit more precision if we wanted to do that. We could also change some of the other options here at the bottom. The thing that I'm going to change is the vertical axis crosses. Generally, I would like to do this so that it doesn't cross in the middle. So the vertical axis, I'm going to have it cross at -0.2 so that it actually crosses kind of at the edge of the screen. And then I'm going to keep this open, but just click on my other axis. So I'll click on my vertical axis and make some of those same changes. There's a little bit too much white space, so I'm going to tighten up my bounds. Some of this stuff, say I don't actually care maybe about some of this data down here at the bottom right. I don't know, maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I'm going to say tighten it up like that. And then we'll say, maybe you want to make this a little bit tighter. Yeah, maybe something like that looks a little bit nicer. You can see a little bit zoomed in a little bit closer onto your actual data. We can do the same thing. We can move this now down to the bottom. So we're going to have it cross at a specific axis value of -0.01. There. So now this looks a little bit prettier. We can also add additional grid lines. We can add labels. We can change font sizes. You know, we can change color. We could change from, say, data points like this. We could go from markers. Say maybe we don't want markers. Maybe instead we want a line. So we could go to marker options, none. We could also change, say, the style or fill, kind of explore some of those options. We could change now to, say, a solid line. So lots of different things that we could do. We could have, say, markers and lines, all sorts of different options. I won't show you all of them, but that's where you would find some of those. So typically you can click on the thing that you're interested in actually editing and go in there and make some of those changes.